It's my pleasure to present the Department of Government Social Justice Award, or actually awards this year. First of all, I'd also like to say a big thank you to everybody involved in organizing this symposium, the organizing committee for all their hard work, the presenters, and you, the audience, and in particular, J. Paul Taylor for, again, inspiring us to examine crucial issues for our region and for the country and internationally. It was J. Paul who got the idea of having something like a social justice focus for the university started several years ago. The symposium was one of the outcomes of his efforts in that regard, so we're very appreciative of that. Please join me in thanking J. Paul. The Department of Government has offered a Social Justice Award since 2002. It was established through the efforts of several people. Particularly, I'd like to thank Sally Meisenhelder, a former student in the MA program in government, and a donor to the department, and helping to establish an endowed fund from which certain monies are made available to present this award each year. I'd also like to thank the committee members in reviewing the nominations and applications which were received. They're Jan Thompson, Carrie Hamlin, and Kelsey Bauman. Please join me in thanking them for their hard work. And the award is particularly to recognize faculty, students, and staff at NMSU who contribute to social justice locally, nationally, or internationally in ways that go above and beyond their current work as faculty or students or staff members. And it's one of the good things that we have so many people dedicated to social justice at NMSU. We had many applications. It was very difficult to choose amongst them. We normally give one award, and this year we ended up saying we're going to give 2 faculty awards and 1 student award. Before I introduce the recipients, I'd just like to mention that in one of the handouts produced by the organizing committee, there are extensive bios about each of the recipients, so I won't go into detail there. We have, for the faculty, 2 awards, Dr. Nicolas Natividad and Dr. Dulcinea Lara, both from the Department of Criminal Justice. We'd like to thank the people who nominated them, Dr. Dennis Gievert, the Department Head of Criminal Justice, Rory Rank, also from Criminal Justice, for Dr. Natividad, and from the Department of Sociology, it was Dr. Cynthia Pilak who nominated Dr. Lara. I'd like to invite both Dr. Natividad and Dulcinea Lara up to the stage, please. And before I give a few minutes for them to say a few words, I'd just like to say, from my own perspective, one of the reasons that we decided to award both of them was both of their individual contributions to social justice in our region. There are many examples of that. One I had the pleasure of seeing was coming to fruition. Dr. Natividad had worked with the city council to make a declaration that Las Cruces is a welcoming community. That resolution was passed back in December, and it sent the message that regardless of background, nationality, or immigration status, everybody has rights, everybody has contributions that they make to the community which are valued. So that was a very important statement, and I know Dr. Natividad and many others worked hard to make that happen. So it was a real impact for our community, and I think it sends a very positive message to all members of our community. Dr. Lara has also been very active over the years. I remember 2008 when ICE raids occurred in Chaparral and other parts of southern New Mexico. 2007, 2008, there was a lot of critical commentary on this, and she produced a video documenting those raids. So what we're seeing today isn't entirely new. We have a history of it, and she was one of the first, I think, to help document that. But the one thing that, for me, that tied them together, many of you may have also seen this, was the exhibit at the Brannigan Cultural Centre in the fall and early part of this year, known as Trotando Pasos Ajenos, Social Inequalities in the Borderlands. My wife and I, we were able to go to the inaugural event, and it was just a fantastic turnout of people from all of the community. Very joyous occasion, I think, celebrating the community and its traditions, but also one in which the exhibit itself forced each individual to reflect on their own position within the community and what we can do to make it a stronger and more just community. So please welcome to the microphone. First of all, I'll ask Dr. Lara to say a few words, and then Dr. Natividad.
Good afternoon. I wrote a few things down because I get too emotional. This is a really special award for me, and I want to thank you, Neil, who's been a steadfast social justice advocate at NMSU, and having you as a colleague on campus is a great reward. I want to thank my nominator, Dr. Cynthia Pellick. I'm really humbled by your nomination and grateful for your recognition. It's one of the greatest gifts to be seen, and I want you to know that I see you too. To my family, some are here. Thank you for coming. Some live far away and many more have passed on. I care about what is often obscured and omitted because you inspire me to think creatively and passionately about the world outside myself. Your life and your work remain fervently grounded and committed to service. Beyond that, you're cool, fun, incredible people who humble me daily. Thank you. Keep going. Little Raiz, my fantastic daughter, I love you, sweet girl, and you give me extra meaning in my life each day. To people invested in social justice work, Mr. J. Paul Taylor, for whom this symposium is aptly named, thank you for your vision, your courage, your grace. I've known you for quite some time, and I remain inspired by your sincere commitment to improving people's lives. Thank you. To my friends and colleagues, I see a lot of you out here, here at NMSU, to my department head, to my colleague David Keys. Of course, Nick, I'm grateful for your collaborative spirit and your dedication to doing what's right and your belief in moving those initiatives forward, always. To the organizers of this symposium, I wrote these words before I got here this morning. I'm so touched. I know that this takes a lot of energy, a lot of love, a lot of intellectual work, a lot of organizing flights from Canada, a lot of food stuff and tea, and I really appreciate each of you for doing this. This event is truly a bridge builder. And to everyone else in the room who took time to be here at this symposium, thank you for waking up each day with an eye toward making the world better. I congratulate my students often, those who are here, for simply getting out of bed. It takes a lot of energy sometimes to face the day. This time we live in can feel overwhelming, unjust, disappointing, and sometimes brutal. Yet we keep that little fire lit and we carry it with us. We must continue to light each other's paths as we endeavor into society's sometimes dark spaces. Thank you for appreciating my little light today, and thank you for carrying your own so that I can follow. I appreciate you all.
Thank you so much to Dr. Harvey, and I'll be brief. I do want to, of course, thank the great spirit, right, that brought us all here together today, but the organizing committee for such a powerful and incredible bridging, right, all the borders that are separating us, but bringing us here together today. So thank you to the organizing committee. Thank you for those that actually nominated me, Dr. Dennis Giever and also Professor Roy Rank. I'm humbled and honored, especially the work that both of you do, so thank you. All my colleagues as well. I'm actually very humbled to be alongside Dr. Lara and all the things that we've worked on. But I do want to tell a brief story because it's important. I was looking at Dr. Hamza's posters in the back about Palestine, and I was struck because I'm a sixth generation that grew up on this in this region. So looking at the posters, it was painful. And it was painful because as border people, we understand the processes of dehumanization at a very intimate level. And I recall a conversation I had with the professor in Belfast, Ireland, of all places, who was an expert on the Indian-Pakistani border. And he was telling me, we're talking about the northern southern Irish border, how border people find each other. Because there's something about border people that they exist in these liminal spaces, but yet we exist. Yet we exist. He just kept saying that. Yet we exist. And so this award is very touching because it acknowledges that the work that we're doing to break down these borders, which my partner and my family have taught me my entire life to tear down walls, not to build them. It acknowledges that we exist, right? And that we're going to continue to exist and that this message will resonate. And so the story real quick was Dolores Huerta. She gave a talk and she talked about how each one of us are seeds of justice. And then she got very somber and said how it's, all this stuff taking place nationally is really hard. And she got real quiet. And for me, every time someone says Trump, my blood pressure goes up. So I mean, it's very, I can understand. But she said, but we're all seeds of justice. She said, and she quoted Pablo Neruda, and she said, and this is why it's so powerful to be seeds of justice. Pablo Neruda said, you can cut all the flowers, but you cannot keep spring from coming. And this symposium and us together and talking about ways, whether it's in Palestine, whether it's here, whether it's in Ireland, whether it's all across the world, we cannot keep spring from coming. So I'm humbled and honored to be here. Thank you.
Our next recipient is a student recipient of the award, and as Dr. Natividad just pointed out, we can all contribute to social justice. Just looking at the exhibit outside, what the youth of Las Cruces have done over the past week, shows that at any age people can contribute, can make their feelings known and support efforts for greater social justice. And our students are also doing that. We've seen that across the country and here at NMSU. I'd like then to present the award for social justice for Kayla Myers. Kayla is a graduate student in the anthropology department, and thank Dr. Lois Stanford for the nomination from the Department of Anthropology. Again, there's a long bio regarding Kayla's many contributions to social justice, not just in this area, but in Central America, particularly in Guatemala. And I also was pleased to be able to attend the inauguration of the exhibit here at the NMSU Library, Defending Truth and Memory, just a few weeks ago. It was a very powerful presentation, featured the photographer from Guatemala, Rodrigo Diaz, and several of my students went and wrote short papers about their impressions of it, and I think it was very educational and eye-opener to many of the students who were somewhat unaware of what had occurred in Guatemala in the 1980s. So I'd like to welcome up Kayla Myers to the podium and ask her to say a few words. Thanks.
Thank you all so much for this honor and this award, and for the introduction to the symposium and all the organizers who put this together. It's a huge honor. I would like to dedicate this award first and foremost to my Eastern Shoshone grandmothers in the Wind River Basin up north, and to all of the indigenous peoples from this area, as they are the first protectors of human rights, environmental rights, and the first peoples to hold space for social justice. So it's such an honor to receive this award here, and also in a space surrounded by so many people who inspire me and who I admire so much. I've been really lucky to have a lot of role models on this campus, a lot of really powerful women doing transformational work, and a lot of really powerful indigenous people that I can look up to and learn from. And it's because of the transformational work that they're doing that I'm even able to stand here at all. And it would take a long time to list all the people, but it includes Cynthia Bejarano and Dr. Donald Pepion, Dr. Stanford, and Mary Alice Scott, my advisor, and many more people who really have inspired me. And a particular group that I want to say thank you to is a group of women in Juarez that I am collaborating with for my thesis. And they are revolutionizing how we see health disparities in the borderlands. And they've also taught me how to put myself on a path of self-healing, so I can, learn to heal myself and bring that healing to my community. And I thank them for their guidance in that process and their accompaniment in that process. And along that note, I'd also like to thank the human rights defenders that I've worked with over the years in Guatemala. As Indigenous protectors of life, they have taught me to be courageous. They have really woken me up and given me the social critique that I have because they've lived lives that have been colored by oppression, but also lives of resistance. And they've taught me courage. And I wouldn't be here without them either. And especially Rodrigo Yul Diaz, who you mentioned, the photojournalist who came to our campus and partnered with me to put on the photography exhibit, Defending Truth and Memory. And I have to use the stage a little bit to advertise for the museum. The exhibit is still up. It should be up through May. And the photographs from Indigenous human rights defenders are just, they're very breathtaking. And they show how we can communicate with art to make real change. And so I encourage you to go. There's a wall that has a question about the power of memory in building societies of peace, peaceful and just societies. So I encourage you to read what students have been responding and staff and visitors. And of course, I need to thank my family who supports me from afar in Colorado and Wyoming, all of my professors and my classmates and my dear friends here in Las Cruces, and my partner Michael, who is an unending source of patience and support for me. I really appreciate that. And as I stand here thanking all of these people and sitting through this symposium, I'm just reflecting on how we bring social justice to our communities. And for me, the term connection has been coming up. And it's when we're able to have these conversations and share this space, and when we're able to use theater and photography and everyday conversations and all of the different modes that we bring from our inner selves, that's when we're really able to bring social justice. And that's what I have found on this campus and in this community. And so this award is just a huge encouragement to me as I graduate this May, and I hope to stay here in Las Cruces and continue to cultivate relationships and to continue to collaborate and work on these social justice projects and create a better community for all of us. So I have so much to learn from all of you still, and I'm really excited, and thank you so much for this award.
Last year we started this award, and actually it was Audrey Hardman-Hartley, who was on the Social Justice Symposium Committee and has been for several years, and Neil Harvey, who helped begin this award. I want to start by talking about Dr. Marion Hardman, and why Marion Hardman, our dear J. Paul already mentioned. She was a professor here of English many years ago, and we have a building named after her. She was a fierce woman who expected a lot from her students. And you have many good stories about her. I know, J. Paul, you've told some. But she was a loving, compassionate, strong woman who was, in many ways, against the grain of society in her time. When I think of this award, and I think of the type of person who wins this award, it is her. But she's no longer with us, yet she left a legacy in her beautiful granddaughter, Audrey Hardman-Hartley. Audrey, just like her grandmother, is a hero. And she's a hero in so many ways, and you can read the details. And this bio is so small compared to all the things she's done in our community and across this region. But she's a hero because she changes the lives that change the future. And these are the homeless and near homeless children and families in our community, in our region. She gives them a home. She gives them security. She makes sure they have food. She makes sure they have diapers. She makes sure the parents understand how to, or learn how to be parents. And she listens when the children cry. And she takes care of them when they eat too much on Monday morning because they haven't eaten all weekend and they're sick because they ate too much. She was the person who wrote this book, Michaela, the Colors, Colors for Michaela. And I remember when she was writing it, she knew a child who was blind, and the child did not understand color. And so she asked everyone she knew, everyone. If you talked to her in any conversation during that time, she would have asked you, and maybe some of you were asked, what do you think of when you think of the color blue? And she'd write it down. I think you must have had pages and pages of notes. And she did this because she saw a child, a disabled child, who who wanted to know something and needed to know something about the world that they would never see themselves. That's the kind of hero Audrey is. And so it's my great honor, I won't take more of your time because I want to give it to her, but I want to give this award to her in honor of her beloved grandmother and one of our beloved faculty members, Dr. Marion Hardman. Thank you. Please join us, Audrey Hardman-Hartley.
Thank you, Dr. Hubble. So many things go through one's mind at this time. How's my hair? Is my lipstick on straight? And oh my Lord, I forgot to shave my legs. Thank God I'm wearing pants. In all seriousness, I was told by Dr. Hubble I needed to be brief, so I will only take 45 more of your minutes. And thank you, and thanks to all of the members of the committee for this wonderful, wonderful honor. I'm just so touched. Y'all didn't have to leave me out of the meetings to do this, but I still am grateful for the award. I have a sense of self-deprecating humor. I try. It's how I cope. And I have a couple of board members here this evening, and I can't see you all, but I want to thank you for being here and for your support. I want to talk about three things. I want to talk about Jardín de los Niños, I want to talk about Team Hartley, and I want to talk about how immigrants changed my life. Team Jardín. Melissa Anderson, my Director of Operations, is here. Melissa is a part of a team, and the other two members couldn't be here, one of whom is ill, and the other one took an early spring break, about which we will speak when she gets back. But they are the lifeblood and the backbone of Jardín de los Niños. I have to spend a great amount of my time out talking to the community, spreading the word, getting diapers, doing those kinds of things that our kids need. And I could not do it without that core team, but most especially without the teachers. When I came to Jardín in 2014, and by the way, this is my work anniversary, when I came in 2014, it was chaos. We were bleeding money. And I know and I thought, honestly, one of the other Lifeblood members, Miriam, would not speak to me for the first month because she thought I was there to close the building. And I have to be honest with you, that first month, I thought that was exactly my mission. So I didn't talk to her much either. But what I saw in the classrooms was this sense of calm. And homeless children need calm and love and stability. And my staff was able to do that while we were busy in the front correcting, repairing, and making Jardín where it is now. And so I couldn't do it without Team Jardín. They're an amazing group of people. And for the first time, our treasurer Olivia is here. She will be investing money instead of begging for it. And so I'm very, very proud of where we are and where we're going. And it was because of those people, like Melissa and the rest of the staff. So Melissa, thank you. Yeah, you rock. No, you don't get a raise. Anyway, I could not be who I am today without the central core of my being, and that's being a member of Team Hartley. My husband, John, from Hotel, Restaurant, and Tourism Management, Chef Hartley, for those of you all who are my Facebook friends or longtime friends, we call them Chefers, is here. Our older daughter, Marion Blair, named for her great-grandmother, also an HRTM major here at New Mexico State, is actually at work, so she couldn't be here today, but I love you, Blair. And our younger daughter, Monica Brock, who goes to an undisclosed northern New Mexico college with a very, very, very bad, whatever the heck this thing is. Brock, I love you too. I want to talk just briefly about those three people. Brock, when I first came to Jardín, I wanted a music program. I think music heals everything. If you can't sing about it, play about it, you're missing something, and it's I hope everybody loves music as much as I do. So I said, let's do a music program. So we sent the word out everywhere, and nobody replied, and so I was very, very sad. Came home, was talking to John, and Brock was listening, senior at Oñate High School at the time, and she said, "Mom, let me try." And she has an ukulele that she taught herself to play. She has a beautiful voice. She's a music minor up at unnamed place. And she said, "I want to try, Mom. Let me try." So I said, "Okay, let's do it." She came the first day, she sat down on the floor, and the children were mesmerized. You could tell they had never seen anything like it before. She continued on through the first summer and taught our after-school kids the Bruno Mars song, "You Can Count on Me." Everybody know, "You Can Count on Me." And it became our theme song. But we also did our first ever concert, and there wasn't a dry eye among anyone, not a dry eye in the house. And so Brock, I'm so proud of you and so grateful, thank you. Not to be outdone, Marion Blair, who was a lifeguard at the time, said, you know, Mom, I bet these kids have never seen a swimming pool. Let's give them swim lessons. So we made arrangements to take them to a local swimming pool, and Blair enlisted the assistance of her sister, who was also a lifeguard, and other lifeguards. And they spent hours teaching these kids how to swim. And one guy I remember, Antonio, he wouldn't get in the water the first day. By the last day, he was on the high dive, and all the kids were lined up, going, Tony, Tony, and he jumped off the diving board. And that I will always cherish, and I know Tony will always cherish, because Blair had the insight to say, what if we try? Marion Blair, I'm very proud of you, and I love you. I've been married to John Hartley for almost 26 years, and many, many a time I have had to vie for his attentions with other women. Never did I realize it would be a 4-year-old. John, we have a nutritional component at Hardin, and he came and he was preparing a fruit dish, a fruit tray, and I noticed one of the 4-year-olds, and I thought, what is this child doing? So she's watching him, and he's just chopping away. We call him Captain Oblivious most of the time. Chopping away, and I stand up, I introduce John, I come back and sit down next to Nadine, and she says, Miss Audrey. And I said, yes, Nadine. She said, he's married to you? And I said, yes, Nadine. And she said, but why? Honey, I don't know. But I do love you, and you are my heart and my soul and my spirit. Thank you for your love and support all these years. 4 people have had a profound effect on my life. The first one, a Mexican immigrant from a little town outside of Oaxaca, Mexico. She was my mamita, my niñera, Maria Irene Vargas. She came here to Las Cruces for a better education via the convent, which no longer exists. But then my grandmother actually hired her to be our nanny. I was growing up in El Paso, Texas at the time. And she taught me Spanish. She taught me most everything I know. She had this beautiful talent with every kind of needlework you can imagine. Sewing, crochet, everything. We won't talk about the disastrous needlework that I tried with knitting, but she taught me this. If you have nothing, if you give from your heart, you are the wealthiest person in the world. Mamita, I miss you every day. Every day. She came to this country, by the way, sponsored by my French-Canadian immigrant grandmother. Robert Kawachica is the reason I survived high school. He was my high school swim coach. We moved to Hilo, Hawaii my sophomore year. And I said to him, the Hawaiians say that Texans don't know how to swim, but I'd like to try. I was pretty good in Texas. He said, okay, try. And so I swam a couple of laps for him, and he said, so what are your strokes? I said, breaststroke and butterfly and the 100 relay. He said, okay, you're gonna do the 200 free, the 500 free, and the 400 free relay. And I didn't know what crack was then, but if I had known, I would have said, dude, you need to stop smoking crack. But what I learned from that, and I did, and what it gave me was a lot of time to think about who I am and where I was going in my life. But it also taught me endurance. Stay the course. Don't give up. You've got a long journey. You have got to endure. You have got to stay straight. The other thing he taught me was swim your own race. Look to the left, look to the right, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your competition's doing. It matters the road you're taking. Kawachica, thank you so much. And I called him after 38 years. Young men and women who are here, if you have a teacher or coach, a college professor who's made a difference in your life, please do not wait 38 years. Tell them now, because they do. Teachers change lives, and Kawachica is the living existence of that. The reason I am the woman that I am today is Marion Payson Hardin. When I came here in 1980, if we'd have been standing in this space, it would have been mostly grass. I wanted to be Marion Hardin. I wanted to be everything like her. Her dignity, her grace, her poise, her eloquence. I so wanted to emulate her. And Anne spoke so much about her. You got a pretty good picture of who she was. She was my personal hero. Granny, merci. I miss you every day. Okay. I will cherish this award more than any I have ever had because of the name on it. Not Audrey Hardman-Hartley. J. Paul Taylor. I don't remember a day that the Taylors worked in my life, and we are now celebrating 4 generations of Hardman-Hartleys and Taylors because my kids and his grandchildren are now friends, and I think that's really cool. We're going to carry on this tradition in this valley for a very, very, very long time. The thing that I learned most from J. Paul Taylor is to be the conscience. What is the best for every last person? How can we be the best for every last person? If we do that every day, and we wake up every day, and we practice this, we will be 98 years old and sitting at our own symposiums. J. Paul, thank you. You are my very personal hero, and I will love you always, always. You know, this world changes every day, and I just have to say something about walls. It didn't work in Berlin. It no longer exists. And why don't they ever talk about a wall in Canada? Fuel for thought. I don't know. You know, there's some kind of cultural shift that we need to make. It just has to happen. For everyone here, toda la gente, muchísimas gracias por todo. Thank you. And Padre Dios, damas la paz. Father God, grant us your peace. Thank you.